Hey, I just got my first paid coaching client. Woo! Yeah, I just wanted to reflect on that a little bit. I have been working towards this for a while. Little recap of my journey so far. In February of 2024, I first had the idea. I was like, I wanted to start a business. I didn't know what it would be. I didn't really know what would resonate with me. And I was in the community of Flynn Skidmore, who is someone who is a therapist and also a coach. And I really resonated with a lot of the things that he was talking about at the time. And they had helped me personally. And there was this question I had, which was like, he kind of laid out this structure of like how to kind of like be in control of your own life. And a big part of it was having your own business so you don't have to work for someone else, right? And kind of a way to have that business be really fulfilling is if it is helping people in some way. And kind of a service-based business, basically. And my whole career was in data science. So I was like, I guess, data science like as a service, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't like data science at the time. So I was like, I don't really resonate with this. I had the data science skill set and I was using it in a corporate setting, but and that was working out fine for me in the short term, but I knew it wasn't the long term. So when I learned more about like what is coaching, what is life coaching, what could I coach about? Does it have to be a specific thing and solving a specific problem? Or can it just be, similar to therapy, but for people who are trying to be thriving, right? I'm all about thriving. And I was like, well, I'm already kind of my own life coach. A big thing that I do is personal development in my own life, and kind of life design is kind of how I think about it. Like the creative act of making my life more of what I want it to be and making myself more of what I want to be. So that idea of like living in alignment was something that Flynn talked about a lot, and like feel like having a life that felt expansive. So anyway, all of those things were things I was thinking about, and I had just done a bunch of personal work, kind of processing a lot of stuff that I had been through, questioning limiting beliefs, like all really like heavy stuff, and kind of had just come out the other side of that and was feeling really, really good. I was like, okay, I want to do something that is in alignment with who I am and that excites me and that makes me feel, like I can kind of take on the world, right? And help the world really in a way that is like tangible and quantifiable and like that I can see, that's visceral. All the ulls. So in February, I kind of first had the idea, and I think it was in May, I hired someone who was a coach for coaches. And I said, dude, like, tell me how to be a coach, right? And he helped me kind of understand the basics and kind of get an idea, just kind of like orient me, like give me some idea of like, what does this world look like? How does it work? And I was fresh to like the idea of having my own business in general. Like I'm not a business major, I was a statistics major. So that is kind of where I was, and I was interested. This was like a hobby. I was like, okay, I'm just going to learn about it and see what it's like. He advised that I just kind of practice, like get going. So I started working with people in my life for free. So they were people that were former colleagues, former people that I was like students with, peers, friends that I wasn't super close with, like that kind of person. Like we all have that kind of person. And those people already kind of trusted me, and I just offered and said, hey, I'm trying out this life coaching thing. It'd be totally free. If you want to try it out, like, let's do it, basically. And it went well. I was able to do probably like 25 or 30 free sessions over the next like 3, 4, 5 months. I don't know the details off the top of my head, but it's helpful to kind of reflect on this. And like it didn't feel like it was happening fast, but like when I was doing those first sessions, I could feel I like doing this, and I know I'm not very good at it, and I know I can be really good at it. Like that's how it felt. I was like, oh, okay, I see that I'm currently like 3 out of 10 and that I could easily get to 10 out of 10 here. And like eventually, decades down the road. Like I was like, and it just seemed exciting, and it was like, finally I get to help people in a way that is like, just you can't deny it, right? It's like people are, the people after those sessions would be, I asked for feedback, and they'd say, this was great, this really helped me, like here's the ways that it helped me, I would do it again, I would recommend this to people. Like it's like, that's awesome, right? Like that feels so good to feel like I'm contributing, but also to see the contributions, right? Like so much of what we kind of have to trick ourselves into in like working a corporate job is that idea of like, oh yeah, like I'm helping people, like without me, the shipping would be less efficient, and people would get their packages later in the week, and then, whatever. It's like, you just have to do all this mental gymnastics to be like, and in my case, data science, it was like, ideally I'm helping businesses make better decisions, but I'm like, well, I'd rather help people make better decisions, right? I'd rather help people here and now. And I just loved how like unambiguous it was. It was like, this is either helpful or it's not, but So that was my experience with my initial first sessions. And then I had the opportunity to work with someone who I really, really respected and looked up to as someone who was kind of creating his own path, building his own business. It wasn't a coaching business though. He was a content creator, and I knew I didn't want to create content really, like not the way that he did. His was very intentional and very like, it was his art, was like creating content. And I was like, well, I want my art to be creating my life and also building mastery of this skill that I now am calling, the coaching skill set. So it was a little bit apples and oranges, but I had the opportunity to work with him. So I stopped working with my other coach, worked with him. I kind of went in a different direction of like trying to find a specific problem and address it. And as a result of that, I started making more content and like kind of doing the digital marketing thing. I was making TikToks, cross-posting those on Instagram and YouTube on this YouTube account. And it was actually going well. It was like kind of getting traction, and I did feel like I found a good problem and like an area of opportunity, but I really didn't like doing all the social media stuff. And if I didn't do it, then nobody would know what I did or what my business was. And it was kind of a niche thing. I guess I could talk about it, but it was kind of creating a resource for coaching gifted children who had grown into adults like myself. I identify that way. I was in the gifted and talented program in school, and like everything I've read about gifted adults, which I would highly recommend this book on that, The Gifted Adult, Revolutionary Guide to Everyday whatever. So I kind of went down that road of like researching like neurodivergence and like ooh, it's not really understood very well, and there's all these kids who had all this potential who, you know, didn't really receive the resources they needed, and because you know they were neurodivergent, but no one really knew what that meant or helped them or gave them the resources because they were good at stuff. So it like because they you know, higher IQ type people, and so that was my idea, was like, I'm gonna be a coach for these people and help them find the thing that they love doing, and like give them that kind of those resources that they didn't have growing up. So, and I still think that's a great idea, and I'm still passionate about it, and it's still something that I want to work on at some point. But that model required a lot of social media. And I was like, dude, I don't like this. I don't really understand it. It's not that I didn't understand it. It's just that I was like, I want to be working one-on-one with people. And every minute I'm doing social media is a minute that I'm not, you know, it just felt like I was throwing stuff into the void of content. And I didn't want to compete in that way. And it just, something about it just felt kind of icky. So, but I developed a ton of ideas and understanding of the business side of things. And it was ultimately like a really cool opportunity to work with that person that I really admired, and like creating that relationship was really valuable for me. And honestly, one of the highlights of my year. So that brings us to fairly recently, probably within 3 months of nowish, and I was put in touch with a coach who is the parent of a friend of mine, like a good friend of mine. His parent is a coach and has been for like 20 years in life coaching. So not really like my understanding is not having a specific problem and solving it, but just helping people in general do what they want to do, whatever that is, right? Whatever their idea of thriving is, that's what this coach helps them do. And I think this coach has a specialty now after so long, but like it was more in the form of life coaching and less in the form of a service business that's solving one specific problem. So I talked with her. It was super helpful, and she introduced me to this woman named Carolyn Freyer Jones, who is a part, and I've since learned is kind of a part of this like big tree of coaches and a coaching philosophy called the Prosperous Coach. And the Prosperous Coach is a book written by Steve Chandler and Rich Litvin, I think. But anyway, it's basically a subgroup of the life coaching, you know, under that umbrella. And they just have their own kind of operating procedure for how they do things. And it was really neat for me to see finally, like, instead of just a one-off coach here and there doing their own thing, it's like, here's a system. Like, try this system and see if it works. And there were a couple things in there that were extremely helpful for me to be like, oh, I get it. And a huge part of it was like, how do you make money doing this? Like, kind of the idea of, if you're charging for this and you're charging in a way that is proportional to the value you're creating, then the more value you create, the more money you make, and the more impact and good you're doing in the world. And that made sense to me, because before that I was like, like, I don't want to charge. It feels icky to charge. I could just do all this for free, but it's like, if I'm doing it for free, I'm gonna burn out and I'm not gonna actually be successful doing this, right? And so that is where it's kind of like, no, like, you need to charge so that it's proportional to the value you're creating, so that it's sustainable for you to continue to create value for people and with people. So I liked that, and it's still something I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm not like all in on that methodology, and I'm not like a part of that group right now, but it also helped me like see a lot of other coaches who were successful doing this in their own definition and in kind of the conventional definition of success. And just seeing that was like, oh, like if they can do it, I can do it. Like that kind of vibe. So I ended up, long story short, I ended up hiring a coach who is in that kind of coaching tree, and she's my current coach, and it's been super, super helpful. I'm super happy with it so far. Her name is Courtney Blankenship, and it's been great. So she has really helped me understand the viewpoint of this kind of system of coaching. And I know in my mind, I'm like, I need to learn this and apply it and get good at it. And in the future, I'm definitely going to be putting my own spin on it. And I honestly, in session, like I already am putting my own spin on it. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's probably something that every coach should do. And, there's a lot that I've learned from all these different sources. But anyway, so yeah, I've been since I've been working with Courtney, I've been doing a lot of researching, a lot of reading, a lot of learning, and a lot of kind of just connecting with people in my life and just seeing what's going on and kind of looking for opportunities where I might be able to help them kind of, for me, it's like get clarity on what it is that you want in the first place, and then get some direction, taking small actions in that direction, basically. That's right now kind of my thesis statement of like what it is that I do. Help people get clarity as to what is important to them in this life in the limited time we have here, and then help them take small but like impactful action to align their lives in the direction that of their values. And I was my first client, right? Like I had this whole backstory of kind of a quarter life crisis of being like, what's important to me? And what does a good day look like? And what does a good future look like? And what really fires me up? And what's just kind of, a loose approximation of like a fulfilling life, right? And I was living kind of a loose approximation of a fulfilling life, doing stuff that I thought would bring me happiness, but kind of wasn't. And ever since then, I've understood or ever since I kind of went through the process to understand that when I know what my needs are, what my wants are, what my values are, it's so clear to me every day what I need to do to be in alignment with those things. And when I get those things and when those things happen, it's like my enjoyment of life, my fulfillment level is 50x what it used to be. Literally. Like it's absolutely transformational and unreal, and like it's an experience that I want everyone to have the opportunity to experience. So that's something that drives me in coaching as well. But point is, I have been doing a lot behind the scenes and working really hard. And today I had a conversation with someone that it was kind of the culmination of several conversations, and he said he really wanted to work with me. And I said the price of what it would cost for, a 3-month kind of container for us to for us to have a coaching agreement, and he agreed to it, and he said, yeah, that sounds great. So I'm just kind of on cloud 9 a little bit. I'm like, man, having one paid client makes you a professional coach. And like, as of today, I'm a professional coach, and I've been working towards being a professional coach for what feels like so long. Like, I get that it's not, and that's part of the point of this video is I'm like, a year ago today on, December 18th, 2023, I didn't know coaching was a thing. Like maybe I kind of knew, but like, I had maybe heard of it or like kind of didn't really have an understanding of what it was. And a year later, I'm officially a professional coach making, a little bit of side income as of today. And it's just like, it's crazy to see how much has happened in a year and how many like little not wrong turns, because there's nothing that's a wrong turn, but all the different directions I went, and really a lot of it has just kind of happened in the last 3 months. And to me, I'm like, okay, I see how this could continue to go, and how I could fairly quickly, maybe within the next year, maybe next year on December 18th, I sit down and say, here's my situation, and maybe I'm full-time, right? Maybe I'm making enough money doing this and creating enough value with this skill set that I've built from scratch, right? In less than a year, to pay my bills exclusively. Like that's an exciting idea, and replace my corporate income, or do it kind of in addition. I don't know. I don't know what I want that to look like yet, but the sky's the limit. And it's something. I heard a quote that was like, your ideal vocation is similar to your ideal partner. You want to see glimpses of forever with them, or something like that. And I butchered the quote, but I like that a lot, because it's like, I do see glimpses of forever with this job. I'm like, I get to help people. I get to improve as a person, because the more I improve, the better I'm able to coach others. I get to become a more warm and open and curious person who is better with people than I've ever been. And I get to, be learning, right? I love learning. I get to be learning. I get to be applying those learnings in session. I get to have a business where I'm rewarded proportionally to how much value I'm creating for others, and how much I'm making the world a better place. As cliche as it sounds. And it's like, that's all I could ever want, and today is just a big milestone for me and my coaching business. So I just want to take a moment and celebrate that. Big yawn, been a big day. And there's just so much more to come. So, it's a real smile right there, some real joy. I'm finally letting myself feel that joy after a big day. So, that's it today. Good stuff. Talk to you later.